On Saturday, June 7th, the heavyweight division is going to be rocking. And there's a fighter that will be headlining. A fighter that'll be fighting out of his hometown, so to speak, home stadium, Portman Road Football Ground, Ipswich. Yeah, the UK. And we're talking about Fabio Wardley as he takes on Justice Huni from Australia. This is a fight that we need to talk about because Wardley is trying to get closer to the title shot in the heavyweight division. And you know something? He's probably going to get it after this fight. So let's talk about Wardley and Huni. When it was first announced that he would be fighting in his hometown, Fabio Wardley was going to take on Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Something happened with that on Miller's side. Injury, being pulled from the card, whatever. But now it'll be Justice Huni from Australia. Now, this is actually a step down for Wardley because we really wanted to see how he'd fare against Miller, who happens to be a veteran heavyweight and someone who has been at world-class level for a number of years. Huni is a guy who has just recently moved away from the prospect level, but not very far, and is looking to snatch an opportunity. When the fight was presented to him, he jumped at the bit. But there were rumblings that he was lining up for Moses Atuma. So going in against Wardley, who is a bit more advanced than Atuma at this time, Justice is trying to roll the dice. And we know in the heavyweight division, rolling the dice is not a good thing. So what have we seen from Huni that says that he may be qualified to challenge the likes of Fabio Wardley? Not very much, but I can tell you out of his last 4 to 5 fights, there's one fight in particular that he had against Kevin Lorena. that went the distance. That fight there told me a lot about Huni. You see, at 26, he's still relatively young, roughly the same age as Daniel Dubois, who has the IBF title. But his ring experience is not where it really needs to be. And in that Lorena fight, he was taking some shots from Kevin that you just shouldn't take. Shots that if he were getting hit by the likes of Fabio Wardley, it would spell disaster. Yeah, I see that Fabio, who had 2 great fights with a man that he had been looking to face off against, Frazier Clark, and both fights were in 2024. The first fight ended in a split decision draw, where we see that it's affected Wardley's record, the only draw. Otherwise, the rest of his fights have been stoppages. But this is the thing. The rematch proved that Wardley was more than ready to face Big Frazier again, stopping him viciously in the very first round. It was a brutal stoppage. Wardley, who's now 30 years of age, he's 6'5", an orthodox fighter, but he's ready for a title opportunity. Now, when he was going to face Miller, he was looking for the challenge because he wants a knockout. And he's probably going to get it in this fight. From what I've seen of Justice Huni, he's very open to shots. And against a fighter like Fabio Wardley, you don't want to do that. You see, Wardley is a guy who hasn't had much of an amateur career at all. They call him a white-collar fighter over in the UK. Very little to no amateur experience, and has learned on the job as a heavyweight. But since his victory over Michael Coffey, which was in April of 2023, he's followed that up with both victories over Clark, and prior to facing Clark, David Adelaide, who was another young fighter prospect at that level that Wardley was considered at that time, and blasted Adelaide out. So he immediately leapfrogged into a position of greater consideration. That's something that Huni has not had the opportunity to graduate toward yet. And so a fight with Wardley at this time may be too soon. But this will be a great opportunity for Wardley to showcase himself. I don't know about some of these guys. They're going for the bag more than going for the opportunity to really be a great, potentially great fighter. Huni has fast hands, but he's faced absolutely no one on the levels of the fighters that Wardley has faced, and he isn't ready for this particular challenge. His size is similar, where he weighs in, usually coming into his bouts around the 245, 250 pound range. Now, Wardley, who's more slender in his build, is a guy that can come in roughly in the 240s himself, but he's more streamlined and he's a fast, hard puncher. There's something about this that tells me that he's going to win spectacularly unless there's a letdown in him overlooking his opponent. The fight is literally being held in his backyard because he's from Ipswich, Suffolk, the United Kingdom, and that stadium there is where they're holding the fight. Will he be able to not think about the crowd and go out there and handle business? As he told Miller in the original press conference, there's no way I'm losing in front of my people, the hometown. But we've seen guys return home and upsets take place. So in this fight, Wardley is going to have to prove himself that he's all business. His record presently is 18-0 with 17 KOs and 1 draw. Huni is coming in. His record is 12-0, 7 KOs. But there's about 6 fights that he need before this, because I do believe he's not ready. If he's able to compete, he's going to have to take care of himself defensively, because Wardley can seek that out. The way he sought out Frazier Clark in their rematch in that first round, he found the openings and just totally pummeled him into submission. It reminded me of when Lennox Lewis took on Andrew Galata and totally pummeled him in the first round. There's an opportunity for Wardley to look so good that Huni didn't even belong in the same zip code. And that's more than likely what's going to be on display. But because these are heavyweights, anything can happen, and one punch can change a lot of things. Will Huni be able to use his hand speed, which is considerable for a big man as he is, and be able to work off of a jab? But the counter punches of Wardley, all he needs is that opportunity to be accurate, and that's going to make the difference in this fight. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Fabio Wardley as a fighter. And do you think that he can gain a title shot after a victory against Huni? What do you think? Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.